TGC Requiem here. We are playing some Shadow Fae, um, Shadow Fairies. Um, I like this. One land's a little troublesome, but with two Inquisitions, we'll be able to go get a second land if we need one, if we miss off the Street Wraith. I'd say right now we're looking at something like that as a plan for 1, 2, 3, probably more like that. Gonna get an Overgrown Tomb here. Alright, so our opponent is on Storm. Combo deck. Goblin Electromancer is really what they need to combo off, so we're going to just take that. So ideally we're going to draw into a fetch land. That's going to allow us to get down kinda low. So unfortunately we are just going to have to fire off the Traverse here. So the question is, we can get a swamp and go steal another card from them. If we get the blue source, we can hold up Stubborn Denial. I think it's probably more appropriate to be proactively aggressive at their hand right now and hope to draw into the second land. So we're actually just going to get a swamp here. And go at it again. So again, their creatures are the key thing that they're looking for here. We'll be able to get a Tarmogoyf down next turn, worst case. Opponent plays a Tarn. So this allows us to traverse for an island next turn if needed. So we know two of the cards in hand. Excellent, we hit the Watery Grave. So we have a couple choices now. I don't know that we really want to hold the Traverse at this point. It'd be nice if we get a little more damage. It's possible we should try and run the Liliana out. Prior to combat. Yeah, I think we probably should have run Liliana out in advance there. If this gets remanded, no, excellent. Although, honestly, it may have been worth actually cutting Death Shadow there, so that's actually a little bit of a mistake. The Death Shadow would have turned on Traverse, allowing us to go get another Tarmogoyf or say like a Spell Stutter Sprite. So this might turn us Tarmogoyf into a 5. We're going to probably get an instant. I guess, did we already have an instant? Oh, we already had a creature, Street Wraith, my bad. On the plus side, Tarmogoyf's big enough that Stubborn Denial is a hard counter at this point to anything except their creatures. Right now, we're pretty much holding the Stubborn Denial up for Gifts Ungiven. Alright, didn't hit whatever he was looking for there. I think we're actually going to hold Fatal Push because if he were to get a Baral or a Goblin Electromancer, we want to be able to kill that. And really, he needs a combination of cards in hand. Right now he's only at 2. He's not getting any higher than 2 as we continue to strip his hand. Of course, now the Death Shadow would be good. We're going to actually just pitch the Verdant Catacombs here. They don't really run any removal main deck. Alright, and that's game 1. Whew. So I will say I have not played enough matches with this build to not be getting nervous. In short, these matchups are, when you play a matchup that you haven't played before, it's always a little nerve-wracking. So these are all the cards I would be considering bringing in. Fatal Push is actually pretty decent. Keeping in mind Collective Brutality doesn't really, what's the word I'm looking for here? Collective Brutality doesn't kill his creatures. It kills the Goblin Electromancer, however it does not kill the Baral Chief of Compliance. We're less worried about our own life total, but we got to be extra careful about, out of the sideboard, them bringing in other cards. Sometimes they play sideboard plan, like, what's the guy called? So actually we should probably bring a Maelstrom Pulse in now that I think about it. A lot of the decks will play the Madcap Experiment into Platinum Empyrean. So we want to make sure we have a way to kill that, which is probably where the Maelstrom Pulse is going to come in. Beyond that, what would we pull out? So we could try and pull out a couple Fatal Push and just lean on our counter magic. I'm willing to pull a couple of them, for that matter, because they do actually counter many of the cards where Fatal Push only affects a couple. We definitely want to have all 3 Surgical Extractions, so keeping the Inquisitions in is good. I almost wonder if we want to pull Bitter Blossom. I'm at least going to consider pulling one of them. I think we're going to leave the Collective Brutalities out. And actually, I don't think this is the deck that we care about, Vendilion Click. I think we're actually just going to pull an Architect's Will. And we're short, so I'm just going to pull this here. This is where, again, knowing the matchup is going to help you, where you don't have to spend so much time thinking through your deck list. That said, not a great hand, especially on the draw. It'd be really nice to have some hand disruption turn 1 or more counter magic. We certainly could bauble into something, but Spell Stutter is not going to give us anything until turn 2, and if we do that, we have to hold off on casting our Tarmogoyf. So I think we're going to mulligan this hand. This is a little different. So this is kind of the other direction. I'm more apt to keep this with the Scry, however, just because we know we're going to rip a couple cards, and these pair well with the Surgical Extraction if we were to hit one. I'm going to keep that on top, help us burn our life total down for a shadow. Alright, so our opponent starts out with Island. Another thing we need to look out for is potentially a Blood Moon. So we are going to start out here with a Swamp. So that is definitely what his plan was here. He doesn't have the ability to get Blood Moon next turn, but he does have the ability to get Goblin Electromancer. So we're just going to go ahead and strip the Electromancer here, I think. Although he doesn't have anything, he's going to have to build up a hand. It might actually be better to hope to draw into... because gifts... No, I think because we could draw into counter magic before then. We're going to take the Blood Moon here. Yep. Especially considering where we are with our shocks. So he'll run out a Mountain and an Electromancer. This sets him up for a Gifts Ungiven next turn. But we're just going to go ahead and steal that from him. And then we can hold up Stubborn Denial in case he has anything to cast. We're going to hold off on the Stubborn Denial here. We'll let him filter here. He puts one on the top, one on the bottom. Throws down the Electromancer and he's going to attack for 2. So we're starting to get to a point where already we're going to need to draw into some action here. And that's not the sort of action I'm talking about. We know he played a Goblin Electromancer. We know he has a Shivan Reef. So I think at this point we're just going to go ahead, play a Breeding Pool. I'm going to play it tapped, however. I'm going to Spell Stutter this. Don't want to give him too much time, plus we have Thoughtseize to be able to go at him, so he probably left the Serum Visions on top. And And we're definitely just going to go ahead and block here, buy ourselves a little more time. And he just drew another land anyway, so we know he has a Shivan Reef still. I was going to say, what are we going to do? Draw another Spell Stutter Sprite, rather. So now we have the ability to cast Stubborn Denial and Spell Stutter. I'm okay with him giving us one more attack here. Wow, that is unfortunate. There's really no point in playing out the Verdant Catacombs here. No point in thought seizing. We're just going to pass the turn. We'll have to throw a Spell Stutter down to block. I actually may wait one more turn, because if he goes to cast something here and we draw into a creature, we're kind of okay. So we're going to do Fatal Push here. And then we're kind of just toast to a Remand. Actually, we're toast to a Pyro, or to a Grape Shot. Alright, let's see here. Yep, so we're just going to go ahead and concede. We're going to lose due to some bad draws. I mean, honestly, there's not much to say. Probably a bad keep. It's possible I should have gone down to 5. Let's see, what turn was that, by the way? Turn 7, so it would have been his turn 8 that he kills me. Alright, so looking back here, I think we definitely want the Architects of Will back, and we definitely want Lily. Really shuts the long-term plan down. We definitely want Stubborn Denial. Again, I just don't know that we need Bitter Blossom. Spell Stutter can probably do enough on its own. I almost prefer Vendilion Click here. At which point we need to cut something. I think with the heavy creature hand we can cut a Traverse, and I almost wonder if the spell, with bringing in the Stubborn Denial, if Spell Stutter itself is a little weaker and that we might want to roll that down to 1, but with the click this could help just lock them out in the late game. It's possible we just want to pull a third push, but again, part of how they go off is by using I think I'm just going to cut the other Traverse. Seems like the weakest of the cards in the matchup. We have enough other creatures that it shouldn't be a problem. this is tough. So we're going to get 2 looks at lands. This kind of seems actually this is just a simple mulligan. This is pretty great. Inquisition and a surgical, plus we have Spell Stutter that we could pair with the surgical. So we're going to keep this. I do actually like keeping the Maelstrom Pulse on top here just because it does give us that out if we need it. So our opponent has Blood Moon. I don't know that I'm particularly stressed about Blood Moon. He'll definitely be able to cast it next turn. We're going to be getting the Maelstrom Pulse, which could help with the Electromancer. Doesn't have anything he can do turn 1. I think the safe play is just to take the Blood Moon here. And we'll play our Spell Stutter Sprite on end step, no matter what, to have access to the second one. It'd be great if he draws into like a 1 CMC spell to get extra value out of it. So the opponent's trying to determine if he wants to make a play with Pyretic Ritual here. Possibly he drew another Blood Moon. Oops. Oh, let's see here. Peer Through Depths lets him look at the top 5 cards. This seems like a pretty good one to counter. Peer Through Depths lets you search through the top 5 for a specific, basically pick the best instant or sorcery. Since the majority of his deck is instants and sorceries, it's a good card to tie the hand together based on your draw. Looks like he's just going to go for it here. What do we get? Oh, this is great. So Maelstrom Pulse is going to be a complete blowout here. And knowing that he has no cards in hand, that's great. So we know we can destroy him with no concern. I think we are. Do we want to hold Surgical Extraction or just go get his Manamorphoses right now? I guess we'll just wait and see. And I think we're definitely in a position where we would trade our Spell Stutter Sprites with the Electromancer. Ugh. So, yeah, we're definitely gonna just. We probably should have done this while we still had mana. This is gonna lock him off the majority of his blue mana for the next time he tries to combo. And he basically only has Grape Shot and Baral and Empty the Warrens as his threats left. So yep. Play into basics. So he's going to be able to run Ritual, run out another Empty the Warrens here. And that's probably going to be game. We just, unfortunately, and it's probably partially from pulling the Traverses out, maybe a little too aggressive with bringing in the counter magic. Yep. Finally got our threat, but a little too late. That's a bummer. Nothing we can do here. It's going to be 8 damage exactly. Ugh. Stubborn Denial, not very good without having a threat to turn it on. Unfortunately, I was tapped out because of the Maelstrom Pulse. Alright, well, that's a bummer. So we ended up losing that match, let's see, 1-2. We'll be back with next match shortly.